actively broadcasting. We don't necessarily need to start the show just because I am going to just make sure that everything is running properly. As I do.
Well, if I move, you can tell I'm still in my basement.
Little did they know, I'm in my basement.
Why is there a pipe?
Riddler of you.
None.
Okay, and I have everything running, streams running. Marwin, if you want to see me, you can now see me in my very, very comfortable hoodie.
Yes, I do.
It's almost...
It looks very comfy.
Like it's just a blanket.
Okay. Are you wearing that
blanket
hoodie thing?
Yes.
That is your winter jacket?
Well, it's because the four-season porch is quite cold. I actually put on socks, too.
Why?
It's gotta have that in the corner.
I'll just open the windows, too. Anyway. So, welcome, everyone, to Animesplaining.
Welcome.
And I would say something that rhymes with 5, but we're on episode 5 and we haven't really been doing the rhyming thing. And rhyming is hard with 5.
The show keeps us alive.
It does not.
Then you take all the jive. It's episode 5.
That is a false statement. So, Joe,
none of these characters are old enough to drive. There's so many things. You're a liar. You're a liar.
So we have Marwin and Joey again to finish out Demon Slayer. Joey, you have now watched an entire season of a shonen anime that was not Ronin Warriors. How do you feel?
I feel like I hate myself that I actually might continue watching this show.
It's actually intriguing.
Because there aren't that many episodes left. It's like the next season is 7, the season after that is 7. Like I went through the long haul. Like I might it's less episodes to finish it than it is to. Well,
yeah,
I'm this much invested.
I understand the craze now. I kind of fell into this trap of thinking all anime kind of needs hundreds and thousands of episodes to really get into it. So I just kind of assume this is just something I could just brush it aside. I don't need to anymore. But if it's bite-sized, I could do that. I could do 7 friggin' episodes.
Yeah, like each episode is what, 20 minutes? It's like boom, all of a sudden it's done.
And you're like 12 this afternoon.
Yeah,
twice.
The little roses pop up and like okay, like I got 2 more in
there.
me.
There you go. All right, next episode.
Yeah, I already had to give Joey the bad news that the song will change because the song changes every season.
There's anime.
Yep, it's something that I actually wish like modern like American television did. Like if a show's sticking around for multiple seasons, like change your song, change your intro.
No, because the songs like that become iconic. You imagine like Friends changing their song. You can't do that.
I can if the song itself showed character growth, and if we constantly changed characters. But yeah, it would mainly be for drama, like Justified. Justified, give me a full-on like anime opening with Timothy Oliphant in a cowboy hat, like going after Walton Goggins looking shadowy. Like that's what I want. Justified as a shonen.
Because I'm thinking, something like that, something like Sons of Anarchy, something where they'd use like a real song for the intro. Just change, like The Sopranos. You could do that to Sopranos easily.
I now want Sons of Anarchy with just this J-pop opening. Charlie Hunnam running.
I mean, it can't be any worse than how the show ended. Like, I'm just going to go run into a truck.
Yep. In a cool way.
Yeah.
So last time we really focused down on shonen as just pro wrestling. I do not think that stopped here. So Joey, I did say that like if the beginning part was like the lead up to the pay-per-view, how was the pay-per-view of Mount Nantagumo?
The pay-per-view part was fun. Like that was like getting a good quality 4-star, at least 4-star match out of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, after a while, you get sick of seeing Randy Orton against John Cena. You know, if you see it so many times, like you said, like the false finish is like, okay, we saw Tanjiro against Rui, and it feels big and it feels cool. But now, by the way, they have 3 more matches to go. Like,
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the false finish. If that's what you mean by false finish in this context, I'm cool with it. Because it kind of reminds me of a James Cameron false finish, where it's like, all right, we beat all the aliens. No, but there's the queen. But no, she's still alive. But now we have to blow up the facility. It's like keep adding more shit. I love endings like that, so I'm totally cool with the false finish.
that part felt like fine. It's just like it, but it also because each one is spaced out in an episode, it felt like another match. So like, okay, we got Randy Orton versus John Cena at Survivor Series. Now we got Randy Orton versus John Cena at Royal Rumble. And by the way, we have them at Fastlane before WrestleMania. Like, I know what's going to happen. Like, there's only so many times this match can be entertaining. Even if I wanted to see it the first time, it doesn't mean I want to see it 4 more times.
I guess for me, it's all of this takes place essentially in the same evening, doesn't it? It's like 5-6 episodes,
Yeah.
Sure, but this is the same horrible night. So this is the same pay-per-view, therefore making this the same match. This match is just going on for an hour, and they refuse to end the show. That's what's happening here. This match should have ended, and it's still going.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Like Lord of the Rings, or like this is like the Mick Foley of bad guys right here. He's refusing to stay down. He just won't say I quit.
Yeah, so let's go through the match card, because I thought that we get I thought we would get another filler episode between 14 and 15. I did not know that 15 just kind of starts right away. Because you have your first match, which is against Mother, and her ability to puppet the demon slayers that have been trying to kill off the spider family and apparently failing miserably, and doesn't care about their bodies, just kind of has them flail. So they are fighting a bunch of people that they cannot kill, but the people are in terrible, terrible pain.
That was sad.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome. That was a gruesome start, and I knew I loved his family already.
But be honest about anime, Tony, because this is one of the anime ploys. You said it off air. What was her real superpower?
Yeah, she has boobs. Like, it's there are occasional Demon Slayer characters where it's like, oh, here's a female character, and they're just boobs. It's like the design is just like, here are boobs. Like, and it's really off-putting a little bit, because like if we go back, like we've had multiple female characters. We've had the lady with the like balls that had that was the demon. We've had the nice demon lady. We've had all these people who have like been demure and conservative, or at least like the people who are like more athletically built, like they weren't like just like super sexualized. And then here's mom with her giant tits, and it's weird. Like it feels weird.
Well,
There's a movie. There's got to be a movie called that. There's got to be a movie called "Here's Mom for Giant Tits" out there. Or else I'll start it myself. That's a great title.
That's the other part that feels off-putting, is that it's mom. Like it's not sister. It's not all of a sudden like another like fellow demon slayer ally. No, it's the mom demon. Like
they're leading into the mommy fetish like right away.
Like Oedipus complex, yeah. It's like,
well, when you think about how Rui like makes the spider people, she's really stepmom, and I mean, there's a lot of people who are into that sort of thing.
This is true.
That's dead. Charlie Chase and D. Williams were robbed.
Good job, Oh god, there probably is like a giant dedicated Demon Slayer channel of Pornhub.
Probably.
But I guess that's why this was so jarring for me. And later there's like a pink lady that shows up, and it's the same deal. Like, what is this fan service that's going on in the later half of the season? Like, they just get really fan servicey out of the blue, and I'm wondering what happened.
Because episode 14, like we come out, there's still like healing at the one like place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because sadly I
Fighting
forget
outside.
episode 15. Episode 15, like suddenly I forget about it. Like I was like, what were they doing? Because then I think it ends with the crow comes like, you got your next mission and this is where you're going.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and then and then in episode 15, it's like, oh, here's a little comedy aside, and now we're in the fucking woods.
Yeah, I was very confused by how we got in the woods fighting a Spider Woman. I guess we're here now, cool. And then they ditched my favorite character, and I don't remember why they did it. He's just by himself suddenly.
Because he's a coward. Because Zenitsu does not like the scary woods.
And he's smart for it, and he ends up fighting a spider. So
smart, he still goes in there. He doesn't want to. I mean, he's deceptively brave.
Yeah, because his friends are in there now. He wouldn't
he's
go in there if his friends didn't go in. It's like the kids from It. If your friends don't go in and chase Pennywise, you don't go in. You wouldn't go in at all. That's just me.
Because of his crazy split personality. Well, all of a sudden, it's like, no, I need to go back and remember my training from Gramps. Because the only thing I've gotten, the only thing that that too. But I mean, it feels like the only training you got from your grandpa the whole time, outside of complaining, was that he liked you because you told him that you loved him on occasion.
No, he hit him. He hit him in the head a lot, because that's how you forge steel. You teach it one move.
The old-fashioned way. And it's a good lesson, though. It's like that Bruce Lee thing about don't fear the man that knows 1,000 moves. Fear the man that practices one move 1,000 times. So just get really good at that one thing, and that's enough. And that's a cool message to me. Why be a jack of all trades when you could be a master of one?
But we're not at that match on the match card yet. We're still on the mom fight. So,
we have to do the thing. Okay.
Right, so Joey, what did you think overall about like the puppetry thing? And do you think it's do you think it's a lame ending or like a good twist that mom just kind of kills everyone anyway?
I mean, no, like it makes you, it raises the stakes. So I actually did like that, how she can kind of control everybody with these webs, and how like even the people she controlled is, unfortunately, it's just like, this truly shows like at least how evil they are, or at least how evil their powers are, that they're making all of these people suffer simply by like them, even to an extent, wielding their own existence onto these people. So again, raises the stakes. They talk about like, oh, they're coming at us so fast. So it raises like, these people are super dangerous. How are our heroes going to overcome this match?
Yeah, it's the best way I could. That's all that really needs to be said. It feels like she's suddenly desperate. It feels like her structure is fracturing out of the blue. Like it's important. Like, why would she let them live at all? Like,
yeah.
No, it just made sense to me. It's like it's a total jigsaw move.
Yeah, and then Inosuke just used the power of spatial awareness to find her.
Yeah, what the hell was that about? Like, was that an ability he had this whole time?
Yeah, it's beast breathing. Apparently, spatial awareness is something that you can self-teach yourself to find people like a football field away in the woods to know exactly where they are, so you can send their friend after them.
You already have a comedy sidekick in Zenitsu. Can't you just let Inosuke just be silent the whole time and just have him be a silent badass?
I disagree. I disagree.
Like, God, one, I hate his dialogue, and it makes me hate his character that much more.
Dude, you gotta have all three of them together. You gotta have the Neapolitan, and that's how Tanjiro is interesting. That's the only way I could even bear the character. All the personality is in his friends, and he's like, "Here, you guys do the stuff. You do the interesting things, and I'll just be here. I'll be the pretty one. You do the interesting things."
It makes Inosuke and Zenitsu the same character, so it's like vanilla chocolate in the middle. So it's like,
no, Zenitsu's a strawberry
instead of like strawberry chocolate.
It's strawberry vanilla chocolate. It's very strawberry vanilla.
Different. They're the same character.
They're not. You have scared and horny and angry and violent. That's two different flavors, man. Those are two different moods. The voices in your head just arguing. That's what they are.
I still get comedic sidekick.
They're both comedic sidekick.
The entire show.
If you have a straight man who's that straight and narrow, you need two comedic sidekicks. I don't need someone else who's straight and narrow.
That's fair. I'll give you that one.
That dude is boring as shit. He needs interesting friends. I'm glad he found him.
It's almost Thanksgiving. For such a white meat baby face with just such bland turkey, you need some good sides with it. Granted, I don't think they're good sides, but I understand.
I love cranberry.
No.
Davidson's definitely a cranberry sauce. He's a tart.
Hey, I like the Judgment Day, and as much as I like Finn Balor, like he needs Damian Priest on one side, he needs Rhea Ripley, and he needs goofy Dominic Mysterio. So I get because if it's just heel Finn Balor.
He does angry really well, but that's really it. He's just kind of one note. That's a good comparison. The leaders of these groups tend to be very white meat, and that's what you have here. You have the white meat Tanjiro followed by his interesting friends, which is why I don't get people whose favorite character is normally the leader. That's the most boring character, just by default. He's nothing. There's nothing going there. You just interject your personality onto him. That's it. He's paper.
Someone's
not canvas.
Someone's not buying a Cyclops t-shirt.
Not unless it's healed Cyclops. If it's the Cyclops was right t-shirt, yes. Regular Cyclops, no.
So
it has to be the Cyclops that shot his teacher in the face with his own eyes.
Yeah. So the second fight we have is I think it's just kind of, I would call it a setup fight just because it's made to, like, play set. It's made to separate Tanjiro from Inosuke and give you kind of a boring fight to focus down on Zenitsu's fight that's upcoming, which is Inosuke and Tanjiro against Father. Is this worth talking about? Like, it's kind of the worst fight, I feel, that's not just the straight up, like, squashes that happen when the Hashira show up.
I mean, again, you take down the giant, how many more, like, once one person takes down the giant, how many times can the giant still be intimidating? Like, once he's taken down, you know you can do it. They did a good job setting him up, because all of a sudden, like, before the main reveal comes, because you get how you're, like, you get the power of this spider mom, I guess, for lack of a better term, and the power she wields, but then you learn that she's scared of the father. So then you're like, okay, how bad does this guy need to be? And then you get, like, a glimpse of, like, how big he is, and then it kind of gets let down with the reveal we'll probably get to in a little bit. But it's, I mean, at least for raising the stakes initially with his introduction, they did a good job.
Yeah, it's to the point where I thought Father would be the main big bad. So I was expecting something more. So it was cool when he showed up. I thought that'd be the end of it. Watching it back again, seeing how he's just like the second guy. Great job, but he's kind of a big snarling beast. So I'm glad he was just the second guy. He was just a big monster. He was just the Hulk. There's nothing really interesting about that. So I'm really glad that the real threat was, his friggin' kids.
He's Billy Gunn into Generation X.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. He has a really good gorilla press slam, but.
Well, and then it's time to move on to the Orange Cassidy fight, because that is what this Zenitsu fight is. Against older brother, and
just straight up spider.
I dislike Zenitsu, but him.
Boo you.
Him fighting off, like, poison spider things, and then just being like, oh, this thing can dodge my one move, so what can I possibly do? It's like, oh, I can just keep doing my one move.
Spam, 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 spam. It's a good tactic. Just spam the square button. This is working. Hey, shit. No, it's doing it.
It's
like Madden. I know quoting sports games on you guys, but the same play keeps working. Keep going to it. Like, why just overthink it? Just do the same thing.
Why would I learn a new technique mid-fight? Like, let's do my best thing. Just keep doing it.
Exactly. Like, this punch in the face works. Punch. Why all of a sudden would I kick?
Goldberg the shit out of this. Just do like 8 spears. Just keep them coming.
So my issue with this fight is I know where this series is going. And, I mean, we've even seen it at the end of Season 1, where you give Zenitsu something to, like, build off his character. They give you his backstory, they kind of show you what his deal is, and they give him, like, an overcome the odds moment where you would assume it's like, okay, so this is going to be something where we are going to show you, like, become more mature, or, like, maybe at least, like, you get one step forward that way. And then as in going ahead, like, as soon as they're just recovering in the hospital and he has little baby arms, because that's apparently what the poison does, it's just, oh, you're just back to being the exact same character. And as someone who's seen 2 arcs forward from that, it doesn't stop. You never get a return to this.
Real, like, they don't build up on his character anymore? Or?
No, the most he gets is he'll just get more moves. That's basically it.
That's
so
annoying.
He doesn't go back into like split personality.
He
like
still has that. He does still have that as a gimmick, which is that, like, if he passes out from fear, like, he has trained himself so much that, like, he just needs to, like, get over himself, and it's just all muscle memory. So
yeah,
it's definitely something where I have read ahead, and it is something where they bring it in, like, at the very end, like, oh, he's able to, like, do this, like, consciously now. But it takes them the entire series to get there, and I think they needed to show, like, they need to show more incremental steps of him getting better, rather than just like, oh, here's a fight that is better than this character, and now here's the character just being the same shithead going forward until we feel like his character arc needs to end. He feels suspended. Is the problem with me?
So they're just kind of Gokuing it. Like, they're not really developing him, just adding more moves. Like, he'll just beat him through sheer force of will. They just give him stronger guys and he just defeats that person with a new move, or what?
I mean, it feels like don't invest him, because, I mean, like, again, we're always going to go back to pro wrestling, but it's like he's solid mid-card guy. He doesn't need that much more backstory. We don't need to invest that much in him. It's just throw him out for the match in the middle of the card, and that's all we need to do.
Yeah, it doesn't get quite this way, Marlon, but you'll know this reference because you watch Dragon Ball Z. But Zenitsu is very much like Gohan. Gohan has his very big arc, like, at the end of the Cell Saga, and then he just goes back to being a dork. Like, it's like, nope, this is the Goku show. I'm sorry. Like, you need to...
Oh, Goku squashes him. He just Triple H is all over that shit. Oh, Chris Jericho's getting fans? Fuck that shit. Squash his ass. Pedigree him 3 times. Good as my son.
But no, legitimately, episodes 17 through 19, I think, are, like, some of the best 3 episodes that you'll get. Because not only is Zenitsu's fight a good fight, it also sets up the whole thing of, like, oh yeah, when you're about to die, like, the whole life flashing before your eyes is because you are actively looking for something in your experience that will get you out of this. And they harken back to it in Tanjiro's little thing. So
it's chilling a little bit.
The only thing I don't like about that, I like the dialogue part of it. I don't like that it was said by, again, Demon Slayer allies who should be helping them in the first place. Like, couldn't you have helped me defeat this person instead of just showing up at the end?
Moral effort, my friend. Moral support.
Yeah, so
like, again, like, they seem to not care if allies die. Shouldn't you, again, power in numbers, shouldn't you all protect each other in order to, like, have more allies in this fight against this endless horde of demons? Or, no, we're good with just, like, 5 of us.
Martial arts rules 101.
Exactly. The rest of us must obey these stupid, rigid rules that we have in the coming episodes, which are
Well, feasibly, all of the black shirt like demon slayers who were just completely murked and continue to be completely murked, like all of them like went through the final examination that there's an entire arc in the series for. They didn't defeat the demon with the big neck, but I mean at least they like survived the night for
They
it.
hit him long
His
enough.
name.
They just hit
Demon with the big neck, big neck, big neck. Demon with the Continue, sir.
So, in the meantime, Inosuke loses his fight. He loses his fight against Father, gets his head crushed, or almost crushed, until Johnny Young Bosch comes in and saves him.
Bosch in any given role.
Yeah, because Johnny Young Bosch has one voice and he uses it all the time.
I am so mad as a Power Ranger fan I didn't recognize him in this. I should have. It's like, no, that's the fucking Black Ranger. Holy shit. Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, as someone who watched a lot of Bleach, I know Johnny Young Bosch's voice anywhere.
See, I knew him for Trigun, and now I'm mad at myself even more. I love Trigun.
But so we come to our main event with Rui against Tanjiro. And I asked Joey about the previous one, so Marlon, what is your opinion of Rui against Tanjiro?
I'm a fan. Like, he's kind of like the sneaky villain. I like that. They hype up the big fodder guy, and then you take him down and it's like, nope, one more guy. They kind of like the James Cameron faults finish it, and then you have to keep coming back at this guy who's clearly the worst threat in the family, despite being the youngest. And yeah, I'm a fan of pushing this kid to the moon. He's great. Like, you called him Randy Orton earlier, and that's a very appropriate description. Yeah, he's Rhea Ripley this shit.
It's because, again, you get the episode where like they kill off the mom, and then you get like Tanjiro being empathetic towards the mom, and you're like, okay, this big baddie's gone. And then they have the help killing the dad in the one where Inosuke gets saved. But then, the reveal is like, oh, we just finally got one of the 12 Kazuki, and they're like, nope, that was not him. And then what I did like is like right before they do the false finish, you have the episode of building like how Rui like built like this evil demon family, and I really liked that arc. It kind of ruins the reveal of the dad a little bit because, again, like making the mom so fearful of the dad, shouldn't the mom have been most fearful of Rui the second she saw him, and instead of like being scared of the dad? But again, because it comes later, that would ruin the reveal. I get why they did that. It's just me kind of going into detail than I need to.
I sort of agree, and at the same time, the dad needed the hype. Dad needed the push, clearly. He didn't push another brother at all who fought Zenitsu. It was like, screw that guy who nobody gives a crap. He was already a spider who was creepy as is. The dad needed the push. So he pushed him as this abusive fodder, and it works.
Like, again, pro wrestling, but it's a Survivor Series 4-man tag elimination. It was Zenitsu against like the lower level heel in the Spider-Man, the mom, who like seems like kind of like, again, like that mid-card heel, the big brute bad guy, and the dad, and all of a sudden the super like strong leader of the faction that you need to take out. So it was like, kind of like Evolution or Legacy, and that like, okay, like for Legacy, you took out Ted DiBiase, you took out Cody Rhodes, you maybe even took out maybe a manager they had on the side, because there's actually 5 of them because you have the elder sister at the end too. But now we got to take out Randy Orton.
It actually, I have it playing on my screen right now. I'm on episode 20 again, and it occurred to me on what terms this situation does work, and it's not wrestling terms. It's more horror movie terms. Like, you look at something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it's not the threat isn't the old guy. It's not the head of the family. It's the young, virile, 6'8" son. It is the kid who has the dad's brains and is in the younger body. It's the next generation. The next generation is always the bigger threat. So it makes sense that the son somehow is even sicker than both parents. Who the mom who at least expressed remorse of some sort. She had the best death out of all of them. The dad was just a raging wild animal. And here's the kid who's kind of the best and worst of both worlds. Who's just, yeah, he's as sensible as his mom, but he's also as cruel as his dad. So it makes sense to me that he'd be the worst one.
The only difference I would say I like what you're saying is that the family in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like it's not just one psychotic bad guy. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it is a whole family of them. But again, because Leatherface is just this like mindless, just big brute, I would get him, like, he seems more of like the dad in this instance to me. Whereas it might seem like maybe not the grandfather, because the grandfather's immobile. I mean, how much more influence can he wield outside of sucking on someone's finger? But maybe like somebody like maybe
it was the cop who was the dad.
Yeah,
the cop who was in on it.
Yeah.
I guess the example I was trying to bring up really when I brought up Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a theme I've noticed continuously in when they do the family thing. It also came up for me in Resident Evil, I think 7 it was, where they use the same family dynamic. And then again, the son is the worst one. He's the tech savvy one. He's the one that's up to date on things. He's the one that knows shit. It makes sense that in this case, it's not the wild animal that's the worst one. It's the one that could have a conversation with you that's the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of in a different place with this fight overall. So I think what makes it work is that it's one of the few times where I feel that the framing that Demon Slayer has is just about perfect. We've had a decent enough amount of time with Tanjiro. We've been on a little bit of a journey with him. So we understand, it's like, okay, so this is a guy who's lost his family. He's holding on to the remaining family that he has left. And then he's running into this super, super powerful, like, basically he can fight him, but dude is just toying with him for 75% of the fight. That not only has a corrupted family, he's going to take your last remaining thing from your family and corrupt it. And it's they go into that sort of thing in the 2 arcs from here, which is the entertainment district, because then it's a brother and sister demon combo that they fight, and that works a little bit, but the problem is the arc isn't very good overall because the preamble is really bad. But I think just that framing, the fact that Rui seems like so insurmountable, that to the point that, I mean, if you're familiar with anime tropes, with granted, Joey, you aren't really, but in any other circumstance, the fight against Rui would end in, like, Tanjiro barely escaping, or something like that. It would be something where it's like, oh, we've just introduced this character. But what Demon Slayer does is they say, it's like, no, our fights need to mean something. We're going to make sure that it comes to a conclusion here. And I think that's what makes this fight work, because you go in the same episode from Tanjiro having his sword shattered to getting a free shot on Rui's neck to him just beating the shit out of him. To I've learned my special new technique, to I've learned the special new technique on top of that special new technique.
Well, because they have to raise the stakes somewhat, right? So like I'm fine with the false finish, and that like they can't make it easy to kill this guy, or as easy as you've seen episodes prior, because then it makes these 12 Kazugi really not seem that insurmountable. So when you make him that much more harder to kill, it raises the stakes for whoever he's going to meet in the future. So I'm fine with that, because they do everything where, like, okay, it seems like he beat him. No, he actually didn't beat him. Now he seems like he's going to lose, but thankfully his sister saved him. But then it raises the stakes with, like, 1, how are you going to kill this guy? And now the stakes are even raised because now if he wins, which it seems like it's going to be very hard to beat him, he's going to take your sister from you, which has been your key motivation throughout this entire show.
Yeah, this is more of a horror movie false finish than anything, which is why these guys remind me a lot more of the Wyatt family. This is way more of a Bray Wyatt thing than it is anybody else's. This is very much Leatherface at the end of the movie, still coming at you no matter how much you hurt him. This is Jason still coming at you. This is Michael Myers. That's who this kid is at the end of the day. So I could see giving him 3-4 episodes to freaking cover him.
The problem now I have with this, especially talking about it, because now that I'm defending the quote unquote false finish of cutting the head off and being webbed back together, it makes that last episode we watched stupider. But we'll get into
it. It really does.
Like,
so, I was going to say, it's like, what's your two's opinion of like the ending of episode 19? Because that last 7 minutes is just anime. That is all it is. It is special attacks, people yelling at each other. The soundtrack comes in, and you get a special little end card on top of it. It feels definitive.
Yeah, it's what you came to see. It's what the kids came to see, and frankly, it's what I came to see. I wanted to see the big fights, and the lead up is so good that the pro wrestling allegory really, really works here. Because I'm not here for the middle episodes. Those are, I'm here for the final ones where they finally overcome the insurmountable odds. So this is the payoff. This is the fruit at the bottom of the yogurt cup.
Well, but it's not the payoff, right? It's like it's like Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, where Cody Rhodes gets lucky and small packages Lesnar, but really gets beat, right? So again, we know that he can. It shows that Tanjiro is on Rui's level, so it shows that, because then the next episode 20, is where we're going into Rui's backstory and finding out what his motivations are. And then 21 is all of a sudden the big nope, you gotta fight me again, and this time here are the stakes here. Now it's the steel cage match, and it's so again, because of the way they continue that, I'm in telling the story that way, I'm okay with the end of episode 19 flowing into 20 and 21. Like I said, my problem is then what they do in episode 26 with the other henchmen, where this loses me, and it gets me kind of annoyed now.
I guess what I'm finding with those last 7 minutes is, what do you call it when, how do I put this? You have your big guy fighting your little guy, and your little guy has this little moment where he comes back. You call it a heroic something. I feel like Tony knows the term. It's it's called hero something when you have a little comeback, and it's it looks like you're gonna win, and then they just squash you. Just here's a clothesline, and you go back on your back. That's what this felt like to me. Here's all of your best moves. He's hitting his finisher, and the crowd's behind him. It's you're gonna hit famous or whatever, your pedigree, whatever the shit. And then you get 1, 2, and he freaking kicks out. That moment, that's what it is to me. He kicks out of a 2 count, and we still have to get a backstory and shit. that's what's happening here. He kicked out, and now you're gonna get a tombstone pile driver, and we're gonna see if you kick out of that.
Yeah, I still contend that the end of episode 19 should be the end of the fight. You can still tell Rui's backstory as he's decapitated. They've already done that with other characters. And they're going to continue to do that when they decapitate demons. That is a thing that they do.
Good gimmick.
But I think that the problem is that Tanjiro needed the win, and he didn't get it. Johnny Young Bosch got it. So it's something where all you've used Rui for, and all you use this entire fight for, is to establish the power level of the Hashira to the point that the plot then needs to do backflips and goes oh yeah, this entire lower half of the 12 bad guys that we have, yeah, we just got rid of them. It's just this guy, this weirdo.
We downsized. We're good of just a 1.
Like I said, building past the mountain would have been fine, but after you get then the Hashira parts, that all becomes not needed, and it brings the show down.
Yeah, so I guess it's time to talk about the gimmicks. So, yeah, so the Hashira are here. There's a bunch of them. They all have their own specific type of breathing. That
Most of them are.
All of them are monsters, basically. Like, they're all terrible people.
They're just different Transformers. They're just different action figures being thrown at me. Different flavors of things. Their eyes are so wide and so bright.
They're like the stereotypical ones that like either join the military or the police force just to do violence on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though it's not people this time, they get to do it on demons, but it's basically just in order to commit violence themselves.
Come on, man, shut up. When do we get the frickin' guns? Hey, you're not getting a gun until you tell me your name. But, so Joey, did you feel like the stakes at all with, like, what's-his-face, like, stabbing Nezuko in the box and doing the whole, like, oh, see, I'm going to get her to, like, go after blood, and this is the depravity of the demons, and all that other stuff. Like, that's supposed to have stakes, and I just don't feel it. It's like
they try. There's two problems with it. One, like, you've already built up that she doesn't. Like, she can just sleep and recharge herself that way. And, like, again, like, when she initially became a demon, why would it be so hard for her to fight this now, especially when she's smart enough to understand that self-preservation for her is on the line at the same time. The other problem is actually in the animation itself, because they draw her to have the muzzle on, so like they can make the veins bursting out of her head to like make it seem like she's fighting so hard to like resist this. But when you have her muzzled, it just makes it a little harder to tell, no matter how well you draw it. So it just seems like.
Yeah, again, I felt the stakes on this one, so I disagree. Maybe it's because it was such a sharp contrast to all the zaniness before, but I feel like with Nezuko, that's the one thing you don't touch. That's his heart. So I kind of felt what he was feeling there, and like I didn't want her to reveal herself. I didn't want her to just revert back to her instincts and suddenly just jump out the box, start snarling at people, and then get just killed on the spot. I didn't want her to be Harambe in front of these guys. That would really suck. Kind of reminded me of this one episode of Supernatural where they're like chasing werewolves or vampires or something, with this other vampire hunter named Gordon, played by.
That's exactly what it reminded me of. Where like Dean like initially is so angry because of the death of his dad, so he just starts massacring vampires, like puts them on the buzzsaw and just cuts their heads off simply because they're vampires. Yeah.
It reminds me of one part where like Gordon has the girl, he's like dripping his blood over her mouth, and he's like, "See," and she's like, "Nah." Just like, no, I just resist. I was kind of really hoping Nezuko would do that here, and I'm really glad she did.
Yeah, like it's again like. It does a good job in creating empathy for Tanjiro and Nezuko and realizing like he's not just fighting demons, but he's also fighting the dicks within his own ranks.
Fighting these dicks, sorry.
Like it's but I mean like, for lack of a better term, the Hashira are just assholes.
Yeah,
at least the majority of them. There's a couple of good ones that you meet along the way, but it's just like it lets you know that even basically he's on this journey by himself or with his two sidekicks that are actually now healing off to the side. So he doesn't really have them with him through this whole thing anyway, through this quote unquote court martial.
Yeah, because it's really just about just dropping lore on you, just dropping information on you, and dropping 9 new characters. Here's the Eternals, here's the entire team. There you go, enjoy that. Just 9 action figures in front of me. Like, I couldn't even tell that they were adults. I didn't respect them enough to give them authority. It's just 9 cosplayers, because I know mostly the cosplays for these characters before I know the characters.
You made you actually do make a good point.
I know you want. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, so Marlon, you actually make a good point there, because one of the thing, as I think about, like, one of the good things that in terms of the Hashira's like deal, like I feel is that, like, you kind of know what Johnny Young Bosch's, because I don't know these characters' names. No one knows the Hashira's names. If anyone gets in the chat on the YouTube or the Twitch stream and says like, "Oh, actually, I know their names," you're wrong. You don't. It's no. People just know them either by their gimmick or by their voice actor. But he has time to establish himself because he's in the first episode. He comes back. It's like, okay, so you have kind of the like, oh, my family was killed by demons too, and I see a little bit of hope in Tanjiro. You know what, like, Insect Lady's deal is? It's like she's kind of a monster. She like plays at like torturing people because under the guise of almost this weird, like, oh, I hope for a better world, but because of that, like, oh, you need to be punished, and I'm going to use this weird poison stuff on you and make everything really, really painful. But then all the other Hashira, they just have a line or two, and then they're just left to be one-dimensional. You have Angry Guy, you have Snake Guy, you have the guy who's not paying attention, you have the guy who's always crying, you have the flame guy who's just hair at this point, and he continues to be hair because he's...
I thought they were the emotions from Inside Out. I thought they each represented a different emotion. When I saw the crying guy, I'm like, oh, it's anger, that's sadness. This one...
I just saw it, I mean, I told Tony earlier, I just saw it as just, this is anime as a stereotype. This, to me, is anime gonna anime, especially when you have the one Hashira woman who's just like there to be crushing on Tanjiro. Like, oh, Tanjiro, he's just... Oh,
she crushed on everyone. Every dude that walked is like, ooh, the master's here. Ooh, ooh.
Anime's gonna anime. That's all I got from that.
Like, yeah, that's what I kind of tuned out. I was like, and you Attack on Titan me. There's, you're really cool, and here's your anime part. We're like, shit, you gotta get those kids in.
You Attack on Titan me, so the show just became incredibly fascist.
I was like, I was really into it, and then, what's happening? What's going on?
No, and I don't know. Because the Hashira are such dicks, it's like, you don't necessarily, like, have a world to fight for. It's like, just... I understand it's there to make, like, Tanjiro's, like, the world he's fighting for seem all this more daunting to get to. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm the head guy. I really have no personality other than everyone kind of liking me for some reason. But
yeah,
people are still kind of insubordinate to him.
He wields like the little mask wielders that, like, Cloud aside, that all of a sudden beat up Tanjiro with clubs.
Yeah.
In the morning. To
like
train
Seymour from Final Fantasy X. Just these two little twerps behind.
Like you said earlier, Tony, this is how we weld steel. Just beat it repeatedly.
Yep, and then they learn the secret of being able to breathe constantly. That is their secret.
Wow.
That is the entire purpose of the training
Just don't stop doing it. Just keep breathing. That's how you don't die. That's how it works.
Breathe into the jug. Breathe into the jug and what is it? Take the bowl from my hand. No, splash me. That's the thing, I think. It's like the splashing in the cup. I don't know. I
know what you mean. I know what it's called. I'm like, was it called Splash Me? Was it? That doesn't sound right.
I will
in this jug and splash me.
I will spoil something where I feel that Marlon's going to like kind of laugh at this. So the one silent lady, that's who Tanjiro ultimately like ends up with in like the overall like arc of things. It's like,
is that the one with the coin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no personality to the point that I need to flip a coin to decide what to do.
We read them so differently. Is that no personality?
I read it as
that girl is depressed. That girl has depression.
I worked in this Tanjiro. There. It's okay for Tanjiro to make decisions for her because she's just indecisive. So it's okay for the man to make these decisions for this woman.
I'm so mad I didn't see it that way. I just immediately went the depression around. Like, this girl had some trauma. Like,
what would you have done if it was Tails? I just would have kept flipping until I got my way.
I always get my way.
Yeah.
I'm Tanjiro.
Right?
It's just good that Tanjiro doesn't want to fuck his sister anymore, at least overtly, as it always
That's why they
seems.
brought her in. Like we gotta take some of the heat off. This is getting very Luke and Leia.
Yeah, there's the one picture that they end with in episode 19 where it's like they're all bedraggled looking, and it's like, this is a little bit too much anime.
As long as his sister doesn't end up with what Zenitsu, does she?
Nope, she does.
I hope so.
That's
Oh,
my boy.
Boo!
God.
Who's the guy that ended up with Tony Storm again? We're gonna Juice Robinson this shit.
Juice Robinson.
Yeah. Big forehead club.
I can stalk you and just sit there and breathe heavy over your bed, and that
for Juice Robinson. Let's go.
Feeling. God, dumb. Whatever.
Yeah,
I had the worst.
Maybe they get more personality in the episodes coming. I don't know.
Well, the next thing that's coming is a movie, and is famously the anime movie that made it to the #1 in the box office for like 3 weeks.
So my friends tried to get me into it. That makes sense. Just kept pushing this at me, like, yeah, it's cool.
It's like this
like
this
anime.
was the only movie that was out during COVID, and everyone saw it.
Okay. Okay, catch me up with the lore.
Because Jujutsu Kaisen made money during COVID too.
It did, but not as much as Mugen Train. Like Mugen Train kind of cleaned up by comparison, because Jujutsu Kaisen, like, I think it had like a 2-week run, and Mugen Train was like in the box office for like a solid month and a half. Because nothing else was out. Like it was either that or like or just don't go to the movie theater.
That's kind of what it's become for me. I freaking got like the AMC pass, and I still kind of stopped going like, these are kind of shit. There's no reason to really leave the house and see these anymore.
Yeah, like I lived right by the cheap theater where like movie and popcorn, even to a prime level show, was still like $12.
Yeah, like Netflix. I got good movies at home. I'm not taking a chance on your shit. They look awful. Sorry, Hollywood.
But so both Joey and Marlon, you're continuing Demon Slayer just on your own time?
I might, because of that last episode set up the Michael Jackson as like, I don't like. Can we talk about being both genders? Like, was it a lady the whole time with a man voice, or
no?
He's a shapeshifter.
Yeah, Muzan Kabuchuji just constantly changes disguises. He likes to. That's as much as I've covered on it.
It's just him being a demon. Okay. Yeah.
So definitely a he, not like
him or her. Yeah.
Him or her. Yeah.
Demon.
And I
just demon.
I find that pretty cool, just because the other ones, of course, they have just the one demon form or whatever the original form was or something. And here's something here's the real proper definition of a demon. I want to see where this goes. I'm pretty sure this guy actually came from hell.
This is why, those earlier episodes ruined this, because you made it so hard to defeat one of these 12. And all of a sudden, that last episode was like what we talked about earlier, like, okay, I'm the boss. Fatal 4-way to see who the next #1 contender is. So you automatically kill off like 4 of them that were already so established that are so hard to defeat in the first place. So now you just did his job 4 times over.
Right back in this shit. It's a proof of point. There's an audience, and they needed to prove a point. So let's get my toughest dudes, kill them in front of you, and now you think I'm tough. This proved nothing to anybody else but me. That's the entire point of this episode.
Well, that's how, in the one that wins, like that we're gonna see in the next few episodes. Like, she wins simply by just brown nosing. Like, thankfully I'm killed by you. Like, that's always just my mission in life.
I want you to brown nose in your mind. Kiss my ass in your mind.
So I will propose this. So if you want, we can do 2 Animesplaining episodes for December, because I want to get some whimsy in on this. And Joey, you liked Belle, and Suzume is kind of like a Belle. It's not a musical, but it's definitely like more of that emotional. This is a movie made for girls. You can watch it with Brooklyn, probably.
Thank you. You'll like it, Joey. It's a movie made for girls. Fair. I only still watch Frozen at least once a week.
But we can also record and watch Mugen Train. So I would ask you if you want to continue that, if you want me to spoil something about that guy who wins the Fatal 4-Way.
Is it a guy? I thought it was a girl. The one that's waiting on the train.
It's right? A guy. He's the one with the hand mouth.
Yeah, but I thought
the girl with the eyes.
Brown, yeah, I thought it was the girl.
The Kang eyes. And a nice pantsuit in the wrong century.
We'll find out, I guess.
I thought Aubrey Plaza won.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I thought it was like the girl that wins because it's she that brown noses and then she gets the extra. Like she wields all the power of the ones previous through suffering. So suffering doesn't only make a hero; it also makes you a really big bad guy.
I forget what happens to her then, because she definitely does not make it to the
movie. Teased at nothing.
Maybe it's just one of those like, "Hey, we're here, but before we got here, let's go back here."
But yeah, I will give a spoiler with Mugen Train, which is that the main villain of it doesn't even last halfway through the movie.
That doesn't sound like good writing. That sounds like awful writing. We're the longest epilogue of all time. Like, let's just chill out for the next hour. Now we're done. We killed the guy. We're just gonna chill.
It seems to be the theme of this show. Where like,
right, that's
like some episodes in the middle that are just great. Like, okay, I'm hooked now, and then the whole ending is just like, this is the stupidest shit I have ever seen. And it's like,
yeah, that's what it's not even the stupidest shit I ever seen. It's that it's fine for the start of a next season. It's just ill-timed. Like you finish your movie. Don't try the beginning of the next movie and then just fucking stop.
Yeah,
like, why even show it?
Like it kills your desire to watch it further. Like so, the first part of the season, like we had his training and like progressing through there and like realizing how hard it is to fight demons, and then we ended it in the stupid whatever haunted house, introducing the sidekicks, introducing Inosuke and Zenitsu. It was like,
hey, they're the best.
Now this show is dumb. And then
shit on my guys.
The second part of the season. The second part of the season where you're like, okay, now we're introduced to like this family of baddies, including one of them who's one of these 12, and then we're ending with this Hashira garbage.
Whenever you say family of baddies, I just like hear the slang of like hot lady. So I just think of a bunch of demons with like giant asses.
That's where you find them.
Muzan Kibutsuji and his army of baddies.
Oh boy.
So what we can do is for the start of December, like probably in the 2 weeks there, we can watch Mugen Train. We can continue this journey through Demon Slayer, so you can truly see that it's kind of all downhill from here.
Yay. Anime twice in a month.
Yeah, and then we'll do Suzume, because Suzume I did enjoy it. I thought it was very good. But I don't know how much is going to be lost by not seeing it on big screen, but we shall see.
Did you like it? Did you like it more or less than Belle?
I liked it more than Belle.
Mm-hmm. Not saying they're the same. I'm just asking in comparison.
Might I add, we should do podcasts in this format from now on in the future. The timing is so much better. There's so much less excuse me, because we could see the other person, and this is just better.
So, except you can't see me.
I can't see you.
Can't see me, motherfucker.
Well, I know not to interrupt Joey because I can see him. I can see when he's talking.
Yeah, I need to do like the raise hand or something like that.
I have the Twitch on, but it's delayed as hell. This is
But
like from
yeah,
a minute ago.
it's delayed by like 7 seconds, I think, is how it's working. But yeah, unfortunately, my webcam doesn't work in the preview, so that's why. If it seems like like I talk over people or people talk over me, it's because they cannot see me. Kind of like John Cena. Um, but so yeah, we'll do Mugen Train, we'll do Suzume, and then we'll kind of figure out what we're doing for the rest. Marwin, if you want to get fantasy bookers back together, I will not be part of that. But I like go nuts. I
keep finding out ways where I can like record us on, but I can't. So we'll figure out.
Well,
I bring it up because I realize a lot of people I follow on YouTube do just that. They have the YouTube video and they release a podcast and it's just the voice of that friggin' video. They're like, that's it.
Everyone does that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the ones I listen to are the same way.
Just
And I mean,
your money.
the world of pro wrestling has gotten ridiculously interesting with all the stupid crap that everyone is doing.
Where do you think CM Punk is going to show up? Is he going to show up at Full Gear, or is he going to show up at Survivor Series, or just not at all?
I would wager more he'd show up at Survivor Series, but at this point, it's more or less waiting for MJF to turn up in WWE next year. That's what I think is the main story. And in AEW just shooting themselves in the foot, just so many times.
What did they do this time?
Just like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of their booking. I'm not a big fan of like, they need to find like a more like one area to like, they might have to be a studio show for TV. Because now it's become like, unfortunately, be the internet of fans. You're getting like, it's becoming like a meme to show like what their attendance looks like. Even and WWE had that back about like 5 years ago where that became a thing, and now it's just doing it. Now they're doing it to AEW. But the problem with AEW is that it's trying to still grow, so it becomes more of a hurdle for them than it did for WWE to overcome in the past. And like, because again, you're catering to this group of fans, but then you lose credibility with that group of fans. Luckily, they're still watching mostly, although their viewership is beginning to dwindle. But now you have your TV contract that's still not renewed, and no one knows what's coming of that. And again, shooting themselves in the foot. And when Tony Khan looks less and less like he can manage people backstage, but you don't know who would replace him on top of that, it's just, they're in their own way.
Yeah. I haven't watched Dynamite in quite a while, but I am going to go back and watch the Like a Dragon Street Fight because I like that game series and I like Sega, so I'm going to watch that. Konosuke Takeshita hit people with a bike because of course you do in a Yakuza street fight.
That sound, yeah. So I assume that's Omega against Takeshita.
No, it was Omega, Jericho, and Ibushi against other folks.
People were there.
And also, I'm actually I'm intrigued by Swerve against Hangman. That feud has been very good from the clips that I've seen, and I kind of go back to it because like Swerve is like bringing Hangman into the darkness again. So you can tell they're both anime fans. That is kind of the way it works.
That might be worth a shot.
As long as Swerve comes out on top, that's the only thing I'm nervous about that feud. Because I think Swerve has way more upside. To me, you gotta push Swerve out of this.
Swerve does need a big win. Yeah, he's constantly been getting into feuds, which he ends up losing in the end, and you can only do that so much. Like that's
he makes a really good heel, but yeah, he makes a really good heel, but he needs a heel win, even if it's by cheating. He needs something.
And we already know Hangman Page's ceiling. Like, I don't think he's ever going to reach even what he was even before. Like, we know him. He's upper mid-card at best. So, like, give Swerve.
That hurts to hear about Hangman Page of all people. upper mid card.
I wouldn't even personally. I wouldn't even put him that high. But like that's again because he's a former champion. He's at least got that credibility going for him.
It's
But
Mizing it over here.
I just because honestly, like, how can you not push Swerve? Swerve has owned him in every promo. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can push Page through that feud. But
it's also that when has Page ever been good at promos, really? So that's doesn't help. That Swerve is already a master of his craft. To me, what I've seen in NXT. I don't know. We're talking wrestling now. It's already a master of his craft in NXT, and everything I see on Hangman Page is just generic white meat babyface stuff, and then he leaves. So he didn't stand a freaking chance. No, you're right. That's it for him. Unless something crazy happens or he gets the best manager in the world, that's it for him.
mm-hmm. No, and I mean, like,
so far.
WWE has, like, I don't know what they do with LA Knight. I don't know if Roman Reigns continues on this path. Because personally, I don't know how badly I want to see Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns again at Mania. I'd rather see Roman try to face even like somebody else, even if it's without the title. Like, have him lose the title at Royal Rumble and face The Rock. I think that would be more exciting. But that depends entirely on The Rock. So, I mean, you can't necessarily like completely.
I'm glad we all agree The Rock should be involved in this at some point because his family's kind of falling apart, and he had like Roman Reigns in a movie, Hobbs and Shaw, and everything. He should get involved in this.
Yeah.
Although I feel like at that point he should get defeated.
The Rock involved in wrestling will certainly be better than The Rock involved in movies. Is all I'm saying.
What movie is he in now? The only thing I saw that he did lately is
nothing. It's been.
Maybe the strike, COVID. I'm gonna make an excuse.
Yeah,
Black Adam. Black Adam happened.
Yeah, most recently, The Rock was on Joe Rogan doing like some Hulk Hogan level line and saying like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking of going into Pride and like getting into UFC, into MMA." It's like, no, you fucking weren't. Like, don't lie. You are the son of a pro wrestler. You wanted to get into football and you got injured and then you went into wrestling. That is the path. It is a path that many have taken.
Not even entirely that's not even entirely that for pro football. You played college football. You lost your position to a future Hall of Famer on that team. On top of that, when you graduated, you tried to play Canadian football, played for the CFL, got cut, and then you went to pro wrestling.
But he could have totally got into Pride, Joey.
Was Pride even a thing in the 90s?
Yeah, Pride and UFC were a thing. Because Pride was always the one in like the boxing ring with the ropes. UFC was the one with the cage.
They were so niche, though. Like, I remember, like, you and I would probably see the videos because we'd, like, rent the wrestling movies at Blockbuster. But, like, there was no desire to see that. I don't know if we would have been allowed to anyway because we were, like, 11 and 12. But, like, I don't know. It felt so like, I don't know if not a lot of people would have even, I would have gone into Pride and have, like, 3 people watch me fight for $20. Cool.
I guess if those things is always about, I'm not gonna defend Pride. Fuck it. No, who am I kidding? I'm not doing that. No, you're right. You're right. So that's not the hill I'm dying on.
And that was wrestling chat. The most important thing about that entire conversation is that next we will do Mugen Train sometime in December, and then we'll do Suzume also sometime in December. So we'll do 2 movies to kind of finish off the year, and then we'll figure out where to go. I'll probably still say like we'll bring some science fiction back. We'll probably maybe do Psycho Pass or something like that. We'll get Joey in with that very lore-heavy sci-fi before he goes see Dune in March.
Hey, Dune is going to be excellent. So you just zip your mouth.
Yeah, and the plot is coming, man.
I don't want to be this all the wrestling talk AEW bashing. At least AEW is not NWA. So at least
that's true.
We can all have little things.
But they got rid of Tyrannosaurus Rex. What I forgot his name.
Tyrus.
I don't know. So we lost the main person that gave us any kind of publicity, whether you like it or not. He was on cable news every day.
Yeah, but is that good publicity? Maybe that'll help.
Any publicity is good publicity. He has your championship on TV. At least
But I'm not watching NWA because I see that guy on that show.
Nobody's watching NWA anyway, Marlon. Like, it's not like we're seeing them out on the internet anymore. Like, cool, it was when it started as the studio show, it was like, okay, this is a niche. Maybe I'll watch this a little bit on YouTube. And then, like, you know, Jim Cornette said one of his goofy lines from the 80s that aged very poorly. And then people realized, like, okay, this
isn't fun anymore.
This isn't the 80s anymore.
Yeah, we attempted the golden age of NXT on fantasy bookers, and like the golden age of NWA would literally just be watching like 5 hours of television.
You get Eli Drake and Eddie Kingston. So now LA Knight and Eddie Kingston, and the rest of it is just like, well, I guess you get Nick Aldis.
Yeah, right. They don't have him anymore, but yeah, you had him.
WWE.
Greener pastures.
Yep, and we'll go to greener pastures. I will end the stream here by hitting the button, and that's what we'll do.